Okay, go ahead, read it, tell me about that.
Today's date is November 21st, 1999. My name is Stuart Gordon. Today's date is November 21, 1999. We're going to be interviewing Esther Pass, who was a survivor of the Holocaust. Today's interview is taking place in Bexley, Ohio, and of course it's all in English.
Tell me when to start.
Esther, where were you born?
I was born in a small village called Stoczek in Warsaw. My mother and father and grandparents were there. They were both born there. My father, his name was Yankel Eisenfish. He had 3 sisters and 5 brothers. There were 9 in the family. And my mother had a sister and 2 brothers. There were 4 in her family. My father's family name, my grandfather's name was Moishe and Sarah Rivka Eisenfish. Those were my father's parents. My mother's side was Shloime and Yospa Cohn. And as I said, on my father's side, he had 3 sisters, 5 brothers. The girls were Esther, Cyril, and Ruchel. And my father's brothers were Aaron, David, Yosef, Yitzchak, and Israel Usher. And these were all Eisenfishes. My grandmother, Yospa, actually had a store in their little house where on the weekends, on Fridays, she would sell fruits, vegetables, and fish out of the house. I understand from a family friend that she did nicely in that business, enough to have a nice dowry for my mother. And when she married my dad, they moved to Warsaw and opened up a store in which my father was a tailor. They opened up a nice tailor shop. And then when they heard about Hitler, I was born in Warsaw when they were there. And June 14th, 1939, Hitler marched into Poland in September of 1939, so I was an infant when all this happened. My parents knew about what was going on. They knew about it. They tried to go and warn the grandparents and the brothers and sisters what Hitler was doing. They would not or could not leave, I guess old folks and children, or disbelief that any human would be. After all, he's just a person like you and us. What you're hearing is not true. It's all overblown. And they did not leave. And unfortunately, they all were taken to Auschwitz and killed. All of this family. I have never seen or met any of my grandparents. Stop. I consequently never knew my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles. I met a couple of cousins. That's about it. I have no pictures of anybody. Family history, very little. When I'm asked by a doctor, was this running in your family? Do you have this? I always answer, I have no idea, because they're all dead.
Were they all killed in Auschwitz?
Yes, the brothers and sisters, yes. Except for one uncle, he got out to Belgium, and he just died maybe 20 years ago. he survived. I was found by a couple of cousins, and I met some other cousins. And since then, 3 cousins have already died. So I have not too much family, except for my immediate family. But anyway, that's what happened to them. My mother and father escaped with me and 2 of my dad's nephews, and they traveled by train and by foot to a place called Gomel, and lived there for a while. The 2 cousins were chauffeurs. They got jobs as chauffeurs, and my dad worked for someone as a tailor. That was his profession.
Where was Gomel located?
I think it's in Uzbekistan. My cousin, the one I met in Israel, told me about. He closed up a certain gap as to how they got out. And this is what he told me. They lived there, and then they got, the men got drafted into the Russian army.
Your father? My
father and the 2 cousins. But before they left for the front, they all, my dad took my mother and I into Uzbekistan, into, let's see, forgot the name of the city.
Tashkent?
Tashkent. And that's where he put us. And my mother and I spent the war over there. My father went back, and the 3 men went into the Russian army, and my father was killed fairly quickly. Within a very short time, he was dead. The cousins, the second cousin was killed during this war. 1 cousin survived, and he's the one that told me about how they were able to get us out. Now, during the time we were in Uzbekistan, my mother and I, we moved from place to place. I remember riding trains a lot of times. And we lived in huts, mud huts, where they had carved out windows and doors with little cloth hanging for the door. My mother got all kinds of jobs to keep us alive. She worked in a logging company. That I remember very well. I visited her at the logging company, and she was driving a tractor. I saw her do that, and she came down, and I remember this one time when I was visiting her, a log rolled off the top of the pile and hit her in the head, and I, of course, was hysterical. I thought she was dead because she laid there on the ground with blood coming out of her face, and it was a cut under the eye. And after that, since then, she was legally blind in this eye, which I never realized till my husband, who's an optometrist, examined her and told me, "Did you know your mother was legally blind?" I said, "No. In this one eye." I said, "That's probably why." And also she worked in factories. I visited her in a factory once and got myself injured. And then she also sold, we were about 2-3 blocks from a railroad station, and my mother used to get a basket of eggs every time a train would stop and run up to the train and get on and sell 1 egg at a time to the passengers. And many a time she would not get off early enough, and I was standing at the platform waiting for her, and the train started to go and started moving, and I, of course, just got so upset until I finally saw her jump off, sometimes past the platform and then come back to me. That was very traumatic, but she just kept doing things, I mean, trying to keep food in our mouth.
Was she doing all of these jobs at the same time, or was she doing them at separate times?
I guess separate times. She was doing just doing anything. And she would buy, I remember her having little geese and stuffing geese with some sort of food till they got big and fat, and she would sell them. And she was always doing something like that, and just to keep us alive. And she also, when we went to Tashkent, she did not want anyone to know that we were Jews that were running away. So she put a cross on me and a cross on her, and we never had any problem at all with anybody even suspecting that we were Jewish. And I, of course, was too little to know anything. So anyway, during, as far as, I don't remember anything more in Tashkent. Oh, something, you want to shut it for a second? I want to ask you this question.
Sorry, just go ahead.
I had seen, well, of course, I had the same coat on for, I don't remember any other coat except one coat. And and I remember having one pair of short boots down to my ankles only. And it was very hard sometimes to walk in the boots, but that's all I had. I used to get blisters and things because my feet were growing, but the boots were not. I remember, getting blisters on my feet and my back of my leg. In the winter time, there was winter there too. It was supposed to be warm, but I guess they had winter.
Do you remember how you heard that your father was killed?
It was after the war. After the war, my mother was trying to find her family and to find my dad, and she was not able to find a trace of anybody, including my father.
What did she do to try to trace your dad or to find him?
She wrote to the consulates, she wrote to the governments, to the Polish government. She tried to find him in every way, and she was told by a friend after the war that he was dead, that they had heard he was dead, but she refused to believe them. She kept searching and searching.
Was there also a period of time where she met another man?
You're talking about after the war? Yeah, he came down. He was a friend from Poland.
What was his name?
I don't know his name. I remember he had a daughter my age. Her name was Anna. And we were playing, and he was visiting, and he told my mother that my dad was dead. And he actually wanted to marry her because he had lost his wife too. So my mother would not do it because she in her heart believed he was still alive.
Was there another child born to your mother?
Yes, while we were in Gomel, she got pregnant again, and I had a little brother named Hitzchak who died. I asked her once, how come he died? And she told me because there was nothing to eat, and he probably starved to death on lack of medication and things.
Do you recall when he was born?
No, probably if I was born in 39, it would be after they ran away. in Gomel sometime. I don't know. I remember maybe he was like 2 years younger than me. So I'd say approximately 41, because I remember dragging him around. He was getting into stuff, and I grabbed him by the arm and pulled on him, because I was a toddler and he was not walking quite yet. And that was pretty hard on my mom. Not on me, because I was little. I didn't realize what was going on. But now I realize.
What food did you eat?
I don't know. I don't know what we ate. That was not bread, a lot of bread, potatoes. That's all I remember.
Were you eating salt pork?
Oh, yeah. Well, that was after the war, not during the war. During the war, still, I also had very bad siege with measles and pneumonia. That was during the war. And the doctors told my mother that I was not going to make it. And she had heard somehow, some way, that there was a new drug that had been invented, an antibiotic, and she begged the doctors to give it to me, and they told her it's too expensive, that I'm too far gone, and it costs too much money, and all that. So she gave the doctor her wedding ring, her bathrobe. She had a silk bathrobe, gave him that. Gave him a lot of whatever it is, pillows. She gave him things that we needed, but I needed more. So finally the doctor gave me the shot. It was penicillin, and that brought me out. So anyhow, thank God for that. Otherwise, she would have nobody.
Did somebody ask you to live in a convent at one time?
Asked my mother, yes.
When would that have been?
That was during the period of hiding out. On the way, I think might have been some sort of options or something, run away with me or give me up to a convent and run by herself, because a young woman would be able to get away a lot better, and without a child crying and, and telling. I mean, if she was trying to hide from someone, a child is certainly not anything you want around. But she refused to give me up. She said, we're going to be together whether we live or we die. We're not separating for anything in the world. And she kept me all the way through till the end of the war. My mother was really my hero till the day she died. We were extremely close.
Do you remember when that was?
I don't remember that. She told me all about these things because I was so little. I didn't remember a lot of the stuff. I have a lot of stuff from what she told me.
At some point, did a Russian lady take care of you?
Yes, when my mother was working out in the factories and lumber mills, there was a very nice Russian lady who took me in. She taught me a lot of things. Actually, I went to school in Russia, some sort of kindergarten or preschool, I don't know. I remember going with her children. Might have even been some kind of Christian school, I don't know. I mean, I don't remember anything about religion there. Anyway, she taught me how to make yarn out of wool on a loom. I used to sit there and help her do that. I was a little kid, but I did it. And I remember a lot of Uzbek women there. They had veils on their faces. They had black shawls over their head. They used to tell me stories, all kinds of things. They were very nice people.
How old were you at the time?
Oh, 6, maybe 7, maybe. The fact that I can remember. I also remember my father, my natural father, when I was very little. Somehow it stays in my mind that he took me on his shoulders and jumped around and made me bounce. And that must have been when I was very little, but I do remember that.
Do you remember the name of the woman who took care of you?
No. Mm-mm.
Do you remember if she was Jewish?
No, she was not. She was a Russian lady. She was not Uzbek. She was Russian.
At any point during the period of time that you're talking about, did you realize you were Jewish?
Never.
Never. At what point did you find out?
I found out I was Jewish after the war when the Red Cross and the world organizations, I don't know what organizations because I was too little, they gathered up all the Jewish survivors, the dispersed people in that area, and I remember being, let's see, she told me I was Jewish after the war. She didn't trust me to tell. A child does not know a secret. And she, like I said, she was my hero. And the Red Cross took us all at that time, and we were all put in this area of tents. As a little girl, it seemed like there were miles and miles and miles of tents, green tents.
Where did you, when you say they put you in this area, where were you at the time?
In Germany. They took us to Germany.
Okay.
I don't know
Do you
where.
remember where you were before you went to Germany?
Uzbekistan, that area. They took us to Germany, all the survivors. And anyway, that's where we met other Jews. That's when my mother told me I was Jewish. That's when we got together and actually, for the first time, I began to identify as a Jew. And it was very, very nice, very good. My mother met a lot of other people, a lot of other young men, which eventually she did marry. She married my dad, but that's after the tents. After there, they took a lot of people to displaced persons camps, and we were sent to a place called Wasseralfingen, and
Where was that located?
Germany. And they had like 4 families. They were all brick buildings, as far as I can remember. And there was 4 families per building, which consisted of 4 rooms, 2 bedrooms upstairs, a living room and a dining room downstairs. Then the kitchen is the 5th room. So each family had a room, and the families shared one kitchen, a small kitchen, which I remember. And we lived there for a number of years till I was sent to a Hebrew-speaking school ran by, I think, Jewish organizations ran it. They were planning to send the kids with the parents to Israel. If we had nowhere else to go, Israel was the place we were going, all of us.
Let me take you back to when the American Red Cross took you, and your mother. Were they only Jewish people that they were taking, or?
Well, the ones that I know were all Jewish. I don't know if they were not, any of them were not. Where we were going was all Jewish area, all Jewish, yes.
And when you say where you were going, where did you go?
To the
Germany?
Wasseralfingen German displaced DP camp.
Do you remember anything about that location? The DP camp?
Yeah, it was. It was very nice. I had a lot of friends. There was still, however, anti-Semitism, not in the camp, but outside of it, because the children and we would all go play on the playgrounds and things. And one time there was some German kids on the other side, and they started calling us dirty Jew. So we started calling them dirty Nazi. And we were throwing snowballs at each other. But we were not going to take it. So that's what we did. That was only one time. They had this place, this Wasseralfingen camp had a meeting hall. We actually saw movies there. They had a lot of meetings there. My parents belonged to the Farband. I have pictures of them marching with the Israeli with a Jewish flag. I think they were probably marching for Palestine to be Israel. They were marching around in the Wasseralfingen. I remember that. All in all, it was a nice place.
How long did you stay at Wasseralfingen?
I'd say we stayed there maybe 2 years. I don't remember staying anywhere very long until I came to this country. We just kept moving.
Did your father marry your mother at Wasseralfingen?
At Wasseralfingen.
And before your mother and your stepfather married, where did you sleep and where did your mother sleep?
Oh, my mother and I always slept in the same bed. And when she got married, my mother told me that, I grew up my whole life in Uzbekistan, everywhere, the two of us in the same bed at all times. And when she got married, it was very difficult to get used to not having my mother next to me. But that was pretty rough. It's a little thing maybe for some people, but for me, it was unacceptable.
Where did you sleep?
Well, what she did is she opened up a cot next to their bed and pushed it against their bed, and I would fall asleep holding her hand. That to be sure that my mother was still my mother and she was still there for me, because she was my life. Without her, that's all I knew was her. She was the only constant thing in my life during all those years.
How old were you at the time?
I think I was probably maybe around 9, 8 or 9.
And you felt that your stepfather had come in between the two
Yes,
of you?
I was very jealous.
Were you angry at him?
Not for very long. He was a very nice guy. He was really nice. He started to mother me just like she did. And he took good care of both of us. He was a good man.
What was his name?
Jack, also a Yankel. Yankel, name was Neyerman. Yankel Neyerman.
Where did he grow up?
He was from Russia.
Do you know where?
He's Verne Berlins, I can't remember. I wish there was someone here that could. Verne Berlins, something, a Russian area, but I can't think of it.
Do you know how he happened to go to the tent city?
Okay, he was in the Russian army. What happened is his family was in the United States. They came here with him and his older sister. His mother got very homesick for Russia, and they went back. She was pregnant with my father when they went back to Russia. And my aunt decided she didn't want to go back. She stayed in the United States. Well, actually, no, she did go back. Then she wanted to come back, and she did.
To the United States?
Yeah, but my dad and his family stayed there, and they were Russians, and so he got drafted into the Russian army. But his parents also were killed in the concentration camps. Who I, of course, didn't. He told us that.
What year was he born?
I don't know. He was about, I would say my mother was 20 to 22 years younger than me. If I was born in 39, my mother was born in 1917.
Yes.
And then my dad might have been born in 19, maybe 13. He was about 4 years older than my mother.
Did you know anything more about your stepfather's family?
Well, there was also a very small family, just the two of them left. Nobody else. My aunt and my dad, and then my aunt had a child, and he's still here. Name is Philip, my first cousin.
Do you know how your dad happened to go to the tent city area?
No, maybe he was. I don't know. I don't remember what he told me about that. I think maybe they were also prisoners, and all the prisoners and all the survivors were brought there, and he was a survivor.
Okay, let's take a break for a few moments at this point. We're resuming the interview with Esther Pass. Esther, you had mentioned that at some point your mother told you that you were Jewish. Do you recall what your reaction was when you found out that you were Jewish?
I really don't remember, but I do remember becoming extremely religious. I mean, there was no rabbi in this DP camp. I mean, nothing that I remember of a rabbi. But I do remember that on Shabbos, I would not turn a switch. I would not pick a flower. I would just walk around, and we would just walk and talk with friends. There was no religious services or anything, but that didn't matter. I just became a very religious girl.
What about the food that you ate?
Food, there was no stipulations on any food, but I would refuse to eat any pork. I refused to eat anything that, I knew was forbidden.
You were not religious at all then, prior to being in the camp?
The displaced persons camp?
Yes.
No, I mean, I didn't even know I was Jewish. I mean...
Were you aware, or did you have any sense prior to knowing you were Jewish, that there was any anti-Semitism?
No.
Were you unhappy about being Jewish?
No. I was very proud. I felt like I belonged to special people. I mean, I felt very, very special when I found out I was Jewish.
Did your mother ever explain to you why she had not told you that you were Jewish?
Yes. She told me because I was much too young, and she could not give me such a confidence and trust me not to tell, because I was too young to understand what a secret was, what a secret life was.
When you said you became religious, how did that come about?
Well, in the DP camp, everyone was Jewish, and we all began to identify with Israel and Judaism, and it was just a very, very satisfying feeling that we belonged somewhere, where before it was just, just surviving was the primary goal. Here we had something more. We had actually like a feeling deep inside like the Jewish soul. I don't know what you want to call it.
What was your age at that point?
I'd say 8 or 9.
Until you were 8 or 9, did you ever go to school?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I was going to some school in Russia, in Uzbekistan. I don't remember what school. I certainly don't remember what it was. That was actually my very first language. I knew no other language except Russian because I grew up with it. That was my primary language. At that time, I didn't know Yiddish. I didn't know any other languages, just Russian.
What language did you and your mother speak?
Russian. In Uzbekistan, only Russian.
She never taught you?
A few Russian. I spoke a little Polish with her, but primarily Russian, because that's what the language was there.
How old were you when you started school in Russia?
Probably regular. I went with this lady that was taking care of me. I went with her children to school. I really don't remember probably the normal time of when kids went to school.
And then did you leave that school when you went to the displaced persons camp?
Yes, because that was in Germany.
Okay, and did you resume going to school when you were in the displaced persons camp?
Yes, we went to school. We took a lot. Actually, in the displaced persons camp, we were going in the Theodore Herzl school, and they were training us to go to Israel. So every class was held in Hebrew, whether it was language, whether it was math, whatever it was all done in Hebrew.
Was there anything else that they trained you about to prepare you for going to Israel?
Well, they taught us a lot of skills.
Such as?
Well, I learned how to embroider, how to sew, how to knit, how to crochet, things like that, skills.
What was your knowledge of Israel at this point?
Well, it was my destination, and I was very excited to go there with my mother and my father. Of course, when they got married, then my dad started talking about coming to the United States because his sister lived here. And then the focus changed, but my school still was all in Hebrew.
How long did you go to school in the displaced persons camp?
Until we left. I mean, I was just going there all the time. That was my regular schooling.
How long was that? How many years?
2 years.
What courses did you take?
Geography. I mean, we learned about where Israel was, things like that. We learned the alphabet, of course, the reading in Hebrew and speaking in Hebrew, and let's see, just everything was in Hebrew, everything.
Did it seem unusual to you that you had been uprooted from Uzbekistan and were taken to Germany? Did you understand why you were being moved?
Yes, my mother told me that that's where all the Jews went. All the Jews were going to be together.
How did you get there?
Trains. We went by train. Just lots of trains.
Do you remember the train experience?
Just regular. In Uzbekistan, we were in trains going to Uzbekistan. There was, we were actually on a car, an empty car, like what you would picture the Jews going to the death camps, the same kind of car, except these cars were different. We paid to get on them, to take them places, to take us wherever we wanted to go.
Were they crowded?
Yeah, pretty crowded, yes.
Did you know where you were going?
No, but I had my mother.
Did your mother know where you all were going?
Oh yes, my mother always knew where we were going. She had, I mean, she had all the plans all laid out. She knew where we were going. She knew what we were going to do, where we were going to live. She was an amazing person for so young.
What was it like leaving all of your friends and everybody that you knew in Uzbekistan to be uprooted and go to a different country?
I'm sure I missed them all because I had a lot of friends there. But I don't remember it being any traumatic experience. Like the friends I truly remember well are the friends I made in Wasseralfingen. Those were, I was older and they were all my age, and we really had a very good time. I have pictures of all of them.
Do you recall that your life experience was different from the life experience of other people who were not living in Wasseralfingen or who were not living in a tent or a displaced person camp? Were you conscious or aware of that at all?
You mean the American kids?
Just any kids in any of the locations where you lived, who lived outside of the area where you lived?
No. I really had that very narrow world. I did not expand on my life other than what I had.
Was Wasseralfingen a closed-in area with a wall around it?
You know, I thought we had a fence around it, but I'm not really sure. I'm not sure if there was a fence. There might have been.
Do you recall ever leaving the Wasseralfingen area and going somewhere else to see something or to be somewhere?
Yes, we traveled a lot to Berlin. Not a lot. I remember going to Berlin with my mom and dad. We went to visit the cousin who survived. His name was Alte Eisenfisch. And we visited with him. And that was in Berlin. And I remember traveling other places too. My dad waking me up in the middle of the night, like 4 in the morning, and me not wanting to go, and he carrying me on his back to a train, because I guess that must have been the time it took off, you know, that we had to get on. Yeah, we did a lot of traveling. I guess they were maybe preparing and going on buying trips to get things to move to this country. I remember going places.
How old would you have been then?
Around the 8, 9 range, because that's when I was there.
What do you remember about Berlin, if anything?
I remember something. I remember a lot of people, and this is really strange. My father came in and walked in the room where we were all sitting, and he says, "You won't believe this. There's cars out there, and there's lights telling him to stop and to go." I could not picture what he was talking about. That's traffic lights. He had never seen them in his life. And of course, I never did. I never would imagine what he's talking about. That's the first time I ever heard of that.
What was your reaction to a city like Berlin?
Well, it was a very busy city, and I remember I needed to hold my mother's hand because there's a lot of people there.
Do you remember whether there was any division of Berlin to the various war powers?
No, don't remember anything like that. Just trying to hang on.
Okay. Now, you said that your father and mother were getting ready to go to the United States. What did you know about the United States at that point?
Well, I thought my dad was telling me that the United States had, that money was in the streets, that all I had to do when I got off the boat is just bend down, pick up the money. And as a little girl, this was very impressionable for me. I thought, actually, this is actually what it is. So that was funny. But that's what he told me, so that I wouldn't mind leaving and not going to Israel with all my friends, because all my friends were going to Israel. And that's where I really wanted to go, with them. And my mother, of course.
And did you finally leave the displaced persons camp? Where did you go?
Well, we went to Bremen. I think that was the name of the city where the ship, General Hershey, was the ship that brought us to the United States. And that's where we got on.
Do you remember who else was on that ship?
Well, no, actually. You know what? I think there was primarily survivors, because they were speaking in Russian and Yiddish, and my father was made an MP to supervise. He, of course, spoke only Russian and Yiddish. He spoke both. And he was an MP on the ship. And so I think it was all survivors. Took us 2 weeks to get here. And
where did you go when you say get here? Where did the ship initially go?
the ship initially docked at in New York. And my uncle drove his brand new car all the way from Denver to New York to pick us up from the ship. Unfortunately, they told me we were not getting off the ship at that time and at that place. We were scheduled to go to New Orleans and disembark there. So Uncle Irving had to drive all the way back home by himself, and he explained to us what was going on. And then we went on and then went to New Orleans, and then a couple, must be friends or relatives or some Jewish organization, they came and picked us up. We had to get on the train. We got off the ship, then by ourselves had to learn how to get on the train. Of course, we'd been on trains for a long time. And then went to Denver via train.
What do you remember about your experience on the ship?
Well, I remember being very seasick. It was very, the first morning, it was actually a battleship, the General Hershey. And they had, you know, these, I don't know what you call them, not cots. Hammocks that hung down the sides. And they had like 3 levels. I was at the bottom level. And I remember that the first morning, I could not get out of the hammock because the minute I would sit up, I got extremely sick. I was very sick. And I laid down and I refused to get out of there for hours until my father came and he picked me up and he carried me outside. And I got very, very sick. But after that, I was fine. And
how long did the trip take?
2 weeks. It took 2 weeks.
Were you still religious at this point?
Oh, yes. I wanted to make a correction. I was actually born in Warsaw, Poland. It was my parents and grandparents that were born in Stoczek. I was born in Warsaw after they got married and moved there. So that was an error at the very beginning.
Okay.
Now, as far as coming here, my parents had a problem getting me okayed for the trip to the United States because I had a lung condition and scars on my lung on one side because of that pneumonia and measles thing that almost killed me. And they did not want to let me come at that time, and they encouraged my parents to go without me, and that they would send me to a special place, which was a Rothschild-sponsored home for children who were, not up to par, to get them healthy and fatten them up and everything.
Where was this taking place?
This was in Germany too.
Okay. And what do you recall them saying to you in Germany?
Well, they took me to this place that was sponsored by Rothschild, and I stayed there, I'd say, about a month. What was that?
Where were your parents?
Oh, my parents were back in Wasseralfingen, and they would come to visit me there on weekends. But I had to have cod liver oil every single morning, a tablespoon, and then I had to eat 3 meals a day and finish every drop. I mean, they would not allow me to leave the table. There was a bunch of kids there. They're all Jewish.
Was it a hospital?
No, it was a home. It was a special, I guess, a rehabilitative home. We had, it was very comfortable, very nice. There was lots of acreage, very beautiful place. It actually was a mansion, one of their mansions that possibly they donated to the cause of the survivors.
How many people lived there?
Well, I don't know. As a little kid, it's hard for me to know. I'd say about 50 kids at one time.
Did you have any special medical treatment or other health care treatment?
They took a lot of, I don't know if it was there or if it was before. My mother used to, the trips we used to take was actually to also get x-rays of my lungs. I remember getting a lot of x-rays in this dark room with machines going on over me and stuff. I remember that.
Was that at the Rothschild location?
No, I don't think so. I think that was some of our trips that Mom and Dad took me, because they wanted to make sure that I get healthy, so they needed to know my problems. And so that's where I stayed until they felt that I was strong enough and well enough to take the trip.
Were you aware of not being well just before you went there?
I never was aware of not being well.
Did you look sick?
No. As a matter of fact, people thought I was very healthy because I always had a round face and chubby cheeks. And I mean, I could be as skinny as a rail, but the face would never get thin. That's just, the way I was made. So nobody actually believed that I was ever sick.
Who suggested that you go to the Rothschild facility?
I don't really know. My parents sent me. Probably someone who wanted to make sure that we were able to come. My aunt and uncle sponsored us to come here.
To the United States?
Yes.
Were you at the Rothschild facility then because you wanted to go to the United States with your parents?
Yes. That's when they found out that, well, I think, I don't know, but I think maybe even going to Israel, I probably would have to get healthy before they would send me anywhere.
What sort of medical treatment did you have at the Rothschild facility?
Well, basically, they gave me the cod liver oil and a diet a certain type of a diet.
Were there
Were
there any physicians there?
I think I remember doctors. I don't remember getting medicine though. But I remember supervision, and it was pretty structured place. But my parents always visited me on the weekends, and I remember it being a pleasant place, nice place.
How far away was the Rothschild facility from where your parents were staying?
Oh, it was a train ride. I don't know how far, but it was a train ride away. I don't remember where it was.
Do you recall what
I'd like to find out.
Do you recall what your stepfather did for a living at this time?
He was a barber. Well, I don't remember anybody actually working in the DP camps. Don't remember that they actually went to work. I think my dad kind of cut hair in people's houses. He just kind of went from house to house, and then when he came to this country, he worked for a barber.
When you were in the DP camp, were you allowed to go outside the camp?
Yes.
And did you see non-Jewish people outside the camp?
Oh, sure, but I don't think we had anything to do with them, and they had nothing to do with us.
Were you aware that there was anti-Semitism at any point?
Only that one experience I had with those little kids when we were playing and we started throwing snowballs at each other and calling each other names.
At some point, did you understand who Hitler was?
Yes.
When did you first find out, and how did you find out?
Well, and in the DP camp, everything was kind of put together, and it was explained. We saw movies and plays, things like that.
Do you recall who ran the DP camp?
No, but I would venture to guess it was the Red Cross.
Do you remember whether it was the American Red Cross?
I think it was the American Red Cross because we used to get Red Cross packages. Everybody got packages, but the kids got special packages which had gum and marbles and jacks and things like that. Things that we, I had never seen bubble gum in my life till I got a package. And I kept that gum alive for a week till I could hardly chew it. And I didn't know how to blow bubbles. I just would stretch it and put it on my face and just blow and blow till it broke. And I just kept that for a week because that's the only one I had. I had one piece. So that was really something special to me.
What was food like at the camp?
Fine. The families actually, there was actually a place where they butchered cattle kosher. We actually saw it. It was nothing that we ever would see. I would never want to watch that again. But as a kid, we kind of snuck in and looked through the cracks. It was like a wooden building. And there was about 5 of us, and we looked through to see what. And actually, they also baked matzah at the camp. They made matzah. They laid it on rocks. I remember all that. That was all done there.
What do you mean they laid it on rocks?
They baked matzah, but first they flattened it over on rocks. I remember that. I don't know what all they did with it, but that's what they did.
Was all meat then at the camp kosher?
I guess so, because they killed the cow kosher, so I assume that that's what they did with a lot of other foods.
How many people were living at the camp?
Oh, that's a good one. It was almost like a city. It was pretty big. I'd say, I never was able to cover the whole area, but wow. I'd say a couple thousand.
All Jewish?
Yes, all Jewish.
Was there any...
Maybe more than a couple thousand.
Was there any religious institution, any synagogue or temple?
I don't remember ever going to any kind of synagogue or temple. If there was one, I never went.
Were you aware of whether there was a rabbi there?
No, I don't ever remember seeing a rabbi. There probably had to be. In order to kill a kosher cow, I think you have to have a rabbi to bless it. But, that was probably the only place I saw a rabbi, was the shoichet. I guess that was it.
Do you recall whether there were any religious ceremonies held either in people's homes or otherwise?
Weddings. A lot of people getting married there, yes. My mom and dad got married there, and there was a lot of friends of theirs getting married there. They met, all these survivors met and got married.
Did they have children?
Some did, some didn't.
Do you remember children being born while you were in the camp?
Do I remember? No, because no hospital there that I could know.
What about religious services, such as Purim, or holidays rather?
Not Purim. I don't remember holidays.
Do you remember what you did with the matzah then? Was it a special occasion that they were making the matzah?
Yeah, I remember seeing the matzah being made, and we probably ate it, but I don't remember it. I don't remember that.
When you went to the Theodore Herzl school that you mentioned earlier, did they teach you about the various holidays?
Yes, they taught us everything that being Jewish was all about. They taught us religion, they taught us everything, everything.
Who were your teachers?
Oh, they were all, well, here's one of my teachers right here. As a woman, right in the middle, I forgot her name. Do you have a close-up of that?
We'll show it later.
Okay. Yep. These were actual teachers.
Were they from Germany, or were they from the United States or Israel?
I think they were probably survivors like us.
Do you remember what language they spoke?
Hebrew. They might have come from Israel. I really don't know where they came from. But I know that we spoke Hebrew, and we learned the Sephardic Hebrew, the Israeli Hebrew. And I still, when I read, from the Torah, from the prayer books, I read in Sephardic.
Do you recall what languages you were speaking at this point?
Oh, yeah. I spoke Russian fluently, Yiddish fluently, Hebrew fluently, and semi-fluently Polish, German, 5 languages at the time. Then when we came here, of course, English. Made 6.
So when you came on the boat to the United States, was there something that was said to you that you could not go into the United States in terms of your illness?
Yeah, well, no. Once we got here, we were fine because they cleared me over in Germany.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was in Germany that they said that...
Yeah, they kept me from going in Germany rather than here. Once they okayed me out there, I was fine.
Okay. Where did you go after you landed in New Orleans?
Well, we stayed with this couple.
In New Orleans?
In New Orleans, just overnight or maybe a day or two till we could get on the train for Colorado. And then we got on the train and came to Colorado, and then...
Where in Colorado?
In Denver. And my aunt and uncle arranged for me to stay in this home. It was called the National Home for Jewish Children, which was actually an asthmatic home, which I did not have asthma. However, my parents were guaranteed jobs at a place called JCRS, which was called the Jewish Consumptive Relief Society. That was a hospital for TB patients. And they did not want me to be exposed to TB, so I stayed at the National Home for Jewish Children for about 2 years. By the way, the National Home for Jewish Children is called something else now, and it is now non-sectarian, but it is still run by the B'nai B'rith women, who are, I think they're called Jewish, they've changed their name, but they still help to pay for that particular home. And I remember them visiting when I was little, and I was being told who they were.
Were you in different cities, or were you both in, your parents and you in Denver?
Both in Denver, yes.
So you would live at home with them?
No, I actually lived at the home.
This was an overnight home?
Oh, yeah. It was. I stayed there permanently for 2 years, and my parents would come to visit me. Or, and once in a while I'd go to visit them, although not that often.
Was there any schooling at all after you left the Theodore Herzl school?
Yes, in the United States.
At what point?
Okay, I came to Denver in July of 1949, which was actually July the 4th, and I thank the kids that helped me to learn my English. By September, I was ready to enter the 5th grade, which I was 10, and I was in my proper grade. I spoke English well enough so that I was able not to be held back.
Do you remember the experience of being in the United States on July 4th? Were there fireworks and other things that you observed?
There was, I don't remember. They told me we arrived on July 4th, but that's when the ship docked. And then we went to New Orleans, and by the time we got here, there was no more July 4th when we got to Denver.
Right.
It was past that.
I believe you said it was an aunt and uncle in Denver.
Yes.
Had you ever met them before this?
No.
And how are they related to you?
They're my father's sister and husband. My adopted father's sister and husband.
After what were their names?
And that's Jean and Irving Paget.
How do you,
P-A-G-E-T, Paget.
what did they do for a living?
Uncle Irving was, he worked at that JCRS, the Jewish Consumptive, and Aunt Jean, they actually met each other. They were both patients at the JCRS, and he stayed on to work there. And he was one of the supervisors over there.
Had he been in Europe prior to going to Denver?
No, he was American.
He was born in the United States?
Born in the United States.
How long did you stay in Denver?
I stayed in Denver through all my school years, till I got married.
Did you go through 12th grade?
Yes. After graduating, I got married.
How old were you when you got married?
18.
Who did you marry?
Irwin Pass, my husband.
Where did you,
My present husband, still, my first husband.
where did you meet?
We actually met in Denver. He was in the Army at the time, stationed in Colorado Springs. And the Jewish soldiers would come into Denver to the Jewish Center. And at the time, I was in the BBGs. I was a BBG girl.
B'nai B'rith girl?
B'nai B'rith girls. And we used to serve the Jewish soldiers bagel and lox on every Sunday morning. And then they would take us to the Garden of the Gods and Hot Sulphur Spring. I mean, all kinds of really nice places. This was Sunday mornings. And they would take us by bus, and we would spend the day and had a great time, and that way we entertained the service people. And he was one of the people that I entertained. So we met, and we went together for about a year. And
when you came to the United States, did you have any sense of being different from people who were already born, who were born there?
yes,
In what way?
yes. The difference is the kids my age were heads taller than I was. I was just a very short little kid. You would never believe my age. I was very small. And I made a comment on that all the American kids, they towered over me because of the diet and the vitamins, I suppose. But I pretty much caught up once I started to, eat properly and things like that. During the war, it's very tough to eat properly.
At any point did you feel anti-Semitism when you were in the United States?
Not me, no. I know there is. There's a lot of it. I see it on television and stuff like that. But I don't, unless I want to shut it out, I don't remember anti-Semitism toward me individually. as a person or to my children, who are Jamie and Brian.
Did you have any wonderment about why the ship was just full of Jewish people, why the DP camp had all Jewish people? Did you wonder about that at all?
No, I just was very, very pleased, very comfortable being among these people, being happy to be with them. Basically, it's just something that I thought was normal. This is the way it is.
Your parents, were they religious? Do you remember your natural father?
My natural father, they came from I guess religious. Well, they were from Poland. Most Polish Jews were more religious than, say, the German Jews, generally speaking. I mean, there's always exceptions. But, yeah, and my mother's family was extremely religious. They were what you call Hasidim on my mother's side. Mm-hmm. My father's side, I don't think so. My cousins said they were religious, but not like on my mother's side.
Where did you go from Denver?
Came to Columbus. My husband had gone to Ohio State, got his passed the boards in optometry here, and opened up a practice here. And he had family here. There's very little left. There's a big family here in Columbus of the Passes, and most of them are gone. I'd say 99% of them are gone.
Do you remember any of the languages that you spoke today?
Yes, I remember. I speak Yiddish and English. The rest, a little bit of Hebrew, Russian, which is unbelievable that I would forget the language that I lived with. I forgot it. Other than a couple of Russian songs, that's it. I get it must still be up there, I think. If maybe it could get unlocked or something.
Oh. And are you working now?
Yes.
What do you do?
I'm a realtor. And
how long have you been a realtor?
25 years.
So it was shortly after you came to Columbus?
Actually, I did not start until my daughter was 11 and my son was 8, when they were in school and they could pretty well handle getting home, going to school on their own.
Has the experience of the war in Germany affected you in any particular way that you're aware of?
Oh yeah, the fact that my family is gone, all these millions of Jews, just the thought of it is just so overwhelming and overpowering that they're gone. These parents, these children, it's just, I really don't like to think about it that much because it does me no good. It just makes me very, very upset, very upset.
Other than your family that you already spoke about that went to Auschwitz, were there other people that you knew who went to Auschwitz as well?
No, I didn't know anyone else. I mean, family of friends of mine I know. I mean, not to Auschwitz, no, family only that I know. But I know friends that, also went through the war, but...
In terms of your discussion of this period of your life, has it always been relatively easy for you to talk about, or is this only recently that you are able to talk about it?
No, actually, if I just talk about it, I was here then and I was here then, and that was not ever a problem for me. I just wanted to have my mother tell me more things, and she had a real serious problem about that. She just would not sit down and talk to me too much, other than telling me places and incidents. I mean, we were here, we were there. I mean, not places, but, you know, what we went through. What we went through.
Now, your stepfather is not alive.
They're both dead. My mom, too.
Okay. Anything else that you can think of that you want to say?
No, let me see if there's, as far as I know, that was, yes, I wanted to say that there is a memorial for all the Jews from Stochek that died in Holon in Israel. And if anybody from Stochek wants to, if anybody from Stochek sees this, I'd love to hear from them, and maybe I can learn more about it.
Okay, thank you.
And this is?
This is my mother, Sarah Cohn Newman. She passed away 24 years ago. This was actually for her passport. This picture was taken for her passport, just before she came to the United States.
And how old would she have been in this picture?
She would be about 30. Yeah, about 30, 32 maybe.
Okay. All right, this is?
This is a picture of my adopted father, my mother, and me in the room where we lived in Wasser-Alfingen in the displaced persons camp. This was actually in our room.
Okay. And you were 9?
At the time, I was probably about 8.
Okay.
This was a picture of one of my classes at the Theodor Herzl School when I was in the displaced persons camp in Wasser-Alfingen. And that's a picture of the teacher, and I am middle row, third from the left, I think.
That's me in the middle.
Okay, okay. I am now in the middle, actually second from the left in the middle row.
Wearing the little...
I'm in the sailor suit.
That's it.
That's me.
And how long did you go to the school?
Couple years.
2 years?
2 years I went there.
Are you in touch with any of the kids?
No, I had a best friend who was the third one from the left. Her name was Lila, and I tried to get a hold of her, but she got married, the name changed. I tried for a while to try and find her, but she went to Israel. As far as I know, that's where she was headed, and could not find her.